Welcome to Toy Business Unboxed, your gateway to the secrets of the toy industry. Here, Jason Shea, a toy entrepreneur and expert in the field.
Every product we develop is really inspired by some of the real life experience that we have with our son.
60% of all toys last year were sold on Amazon, which is incredible.
Be passionate about it because it's a road, it's a journey.
Like when you have an idea that you think is like gonna somewhat like change the world, make things better, I'd say go for it.
We'll guide you through the enchanting world of toy design, marketing, and manufacturing. Now let the unboxing begin.
Welcome back to another episode of Toy Business Unboxed. Today, we're thrilled to have Zev, a legend in the tabletop gaming world. With nearly 30 years in the industry itself, Zev had founded Z-Man Games back in 1999. And after selling Z-Man Game, he worked with WizKids before launching Play to Z Game in 2023. Today, we'll be talking about some of his background, his approach to publishing, sharing his wealth of knowledge within the tabletop gaming industry. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
Yeah, so I know you have been in the industry for almost 30 years, but going back, like what was your origin story? How do you got into the industry?
Well, I've always been a gamer, so there's that. I guess that was the start. But I guess the start was I was very heavy into collectible card games. And I was, I played Magic the Gathering, and then I joined a crew where we demonstrated collectible card games. So for several years, we were probably one of the few groups at the time, and I think more came out of it, where we represented different collectible card games. And this was in 1995, I think we started. Represent, and that's when CCGs came out and became big.
Yeah,
became big. Not that they came out, but most of them. Magic came out in like '93, did great, got bigger in '94, and then got really big in '95, and then other CCGs came out around then. So we represented a bunch of them. I also was a Magic Pro Tour judge. I was at the first Pro Tour. I was one of the judges in that first Pro Tour. But even though I played Magic, I leaned towards other games. I played Shadow Fist, which was my favorite game. I played Legend of the Five Rings. We played Dark Ages, Guardians. I tried pretty much, most of them. So that's how I got started, at least. So, and that got me going to conventions because I was going to demonstrations. I was at the publisher booths demonstrating games, worked with TSR a bit. I taught Blood Wars and Dragon Dice. And then I did get actually a paid job at Demon Blade Games. It was a miniature company. I was their promotional director because the guy saw that he really liked how I demonstrated games. So I did a year of demonstrating his game Shock Force. And then from there went back to demonstrating other games in 1998. The job lasted about a year. And then I formed Z-Man in 1999.
What was the inspiration behind starting the Z-Man Games company?
It was really to bring back my favorite game, Shadow Fist. That was my number one collectible card game. I loved it. It's the one I really glommed onto, and I really pushed and tried to show it to everybody and get everyone to play. The company had gone bankrupt in I think '97, and even though I worked at conventions and I taught other games, I'd always have my Shadow Fist decks, and I'd be with a friend of mine, and we'd always play Shadow Fist in the evening. And every show we went to, people would come to us and say, "Hey, I didn't know people were playing Shadow Fist. I would have brought my cards." So I turned to my friend and I said, what if we can bring back Shadow Fist and get people playing and get cards? And that was the reason I started Z-Man Games.
I see. And looking back, what was some of the moment that you realized the company was really taking off and really growing?
Well, that came a few years later because, again, I only planned to do Shadow Fist, right? That was my only thing. And then I got pitched a card game about a year later in 2001. And I really liked it. I said, you know what, I'll do it because I liked it. It was a B-movie themed card game. And I said, I really want to do this while I'm doing Shadow Fist, and that became Grave Robbers from Outer Space. And it became a big hit. And then I realized, this is kind of nice because collectible card games require a lot of work, a lot of community effort,
Yeah.
organized play, retailer support. It was just a lot. And I was doing Z-Man by myself. I had a lot of great volunteers, but I had to juggle them while doing, Z-Man stuff. Plus, I had a day job.
Hmm.
So it really, I started slowly focusing on other things. I said, okay, you know what? I'll still do Shadow Fist, but I'll slowly do other games. And I did other B movie games. I got pitched other things. I did a game. I did Primordial Soup,
Yeah.
which I think was my first board game. And that was successful enough that I said, oh, I got to keep doing this. And so really the next 4 or 5 years, I did a lot of board games and a lot of card games. I started bringing in games from other countries, plus doing original stuff. And I think I already had a name for myself, and I was doing quite well. But
Yeah.
2008 was my biggest year because I released Pandemic and Agricola
Oh, okay.
year, and that propelled me to another level.
How do you launch the product back then? Because I believe Kickstarter was launched in 2009. So that was before Kickstarter even existed.
Oh yeah, there was no Kickstarter. There was nothing
Yeah.
like that. I
Yeah.
don't know when Kickstarter started. I don't even know if it was 2000.
2009.
I thought it
They
would be
started,
later. Yeah, 2009.
they launched in 2009. Yeah.
Wow, but I don't know when for board games first started to get on there though. That's the thing.
True.
But yeah, the launch game is we would go to conventions. We'd go to like the Gamma Trade Show also. I would talk to distributors. I would get their opinions. Whatever retailers I knew, I would ask them their opinions. But basically, it was a guessing game. How many units do I do? So I had to do it on my own. Figure out what do I think I could sell. What's popular. What are the selling points of this game that will allow me to, maybe raise my initial run. But it all had to be, just working behind the scenes and trying to get whatever information I can get to make an informed decision.
I see. But based on your experience, what are some of the criteria that you're looking for to make sure you choose the right game to bring to the market that will have the traction?
Yeah, you look for games that have hype, or you try to get hype for them. Especially if I brought games in from from a foreign publisher, that at least I would know because there'd be some hype already for a particular game. So that would help me inform. Yeah, I got to go after that game. There were some that I just took a guess on and said, okay, this company is known or the designer is known. I'm just going to take a risk and bring that game in. So that made things a little easier. It was the original games that were the tough call. It's like, how do I know if this is the game that is going to be the thing that people will be interested in?
I see. Yeah, that's true. If you don't have any other track record from other countries, it's kind of hard to know. So, and now with the new company that you launched, a few years ago, was Play to Z. Is it a different direction or a different type of game that you're currently before compared to the previous company?
So really, it's the same methodology and the same criteria. I'm always looking for fun, unique, engaging games that wow me, games that I think should be worth being in the marketplace. The things that changed is, one, I'm not doing as many games a year as I did as Z-Man. I'm doing some crowdfunding on games. Not all the games are crowdfunded. Some of them are. And just my filter is a little more choosing, I'm not just saying, this is good. I really have to think about, okay, is this really good? Or is this a game I could crowdfund? Or is this a game that I could sell without crowdfunding? So my filter is very, very narrow now compared to what I did before. So I got to be careful.
So, for example, for 2025, how many games are you planning to launch this year?
I would say no more than 10 is my goal. We might be up to 8. I won't count the 2 that released in January because they were really, one fulfilled in December 24. So I'm sort of not counting that. So I would say it's probably, I'd say, 8 to 10 is what I'm looking at. But at Z-Man, I was doing 25, 30. Sometime one year I did 34.
Oh, whoa.
The high 20s was my normal thing.
Oh, well, 34, that's almost 3 a month.
Yeah. But again, this was also during a period where maybe there were 500 new games a year, right? Or 600 new games a year. Not
Mhm.
now, which is 3,000 or 4,000 or 5,000
Yeah.
new games a
Yeah.
year. So very
Mhm.
different marketplace, and of course, it's a larger marketplace and so on. But
Yeah.
it's just not a very different feel for it. But it's also bandwidth, right? It's how much
Mhm.
time I can devote to each game, how much time to market each game, and so on.
Yeah.
So those are the things I'm trying to take care of.
I see. And based on your experience being in the industry for so long, what has like some of the things that you noticed that has been changing compared to when you first started?
Yeah. So, well, I mean, crowdfunding obviously was the biggest change, right? That's the
Yeah.
the biggest thing that has impacted the industry. I mean, there's still a three-tier industry, right? You have the publisher, distributor, retailer. That's similar, but I think ordering patterns are different.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of just-in-time type stuff.
Yeah.
Um, Same opportunities going to conventions and stuff. I think it's harder to get a game noticed. So
Mm.
that's something that's probably um, something that you have to deal with. Even though I think the amount of the player base has increased,
Yeah.
but again, the competition is there, right? More
Competition also.
publishers, more
Yeah.
games vying for that. So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's kind of similar but different issues, but still got to deal with it. By
I
the way, if you don't
see.
mind, I'm going to see if I change my camera so it doesn't keep. I don't know
Oh, sure. It's kind of
focusing.
zooming out and in and out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know
Sure.
why, so I'm trying to see
Mhm.
what's happening there.
No problem. But I can hear you just
Good.
fine.
I'm doing more the
So
visual. It keeps zooming.
mhm.
It keeps sorry, defocusing and stuff, blurring.
No problem.
That's the word.
No
Yes.
problem. Um, and what are some of the biggest challenges that you still face with your company within the board game industry today?
I think again, getting noticed. I think that's probably the biggest thing.
Mhm.
For the reasons I said before. Again, it's just more competition. You just
Mhm.
what can I do to get my game in front of people, and then of
Yeah.
course, hopefully they like the game and then buy it, and then you reach critical mass, and
Yeah.
then become a big success, become an evergreen title, have an evergreen
Yeah.
title, or several if you're lucky, or have that one massive hit, right? That one massive evergreen title. So
Mhm.
really, I think that's still the challenge: getting it in front of people, getting people to notice your game, and then hoping they'll like it, and it
Mhm.
reaches a point where it becomes a success.
I see. And I know you have some product with you in the room. So would you mind sharing some of the new project you're
Oh
currently
yeah,
working on?
absolutely. So we got a couple of games. We got 3 games that were nominated for the Origins Award. So this
Oh,
one is
congratulations.
thank
Yeah.
you. This one is Lynx. Lynx is it's in the light strategy category. It's an economic game with an ecological theme. You're
Yeah.
trapping hare, trapping lynx. You're selling lynx pelts, but you got to watch
Okay.
out. You don't want to overtrap the hare because it could crash the lynx
Oh,
population. So it's sort of a
okay.
stock market feel, but with this whole ecological theme. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
in the gateway category, we have Iro. This is actually a
Okay.
license from an Italian publisher. So this was
Oh,
my first localization into the English language. Great game. You're making a 3x3 grid, and you're recruiting characters, and they trigger off where you place them and what you do. You go through 6 phases simultaneously, and the characters can trigger during the different phases:
oh,
combat, income, production, victory point, and so on. Plays in about 15 minutes. So it's up for best gateway game.
oh,
Then we got a really big
okay.
game. And again, this shows the different catalog styles I have. I don't focus on one type of game. I have many
Yeah.
different games. So this is a nominee in the heavy category, best heavy strategy.
Yeah.
Sending Empires. It's a 4X game.
Yeah.
A lot of plastic. I've been really good. This is actually a game I did as Z-Man Games back in 2011.
Oh,
So I
well.
brought it
Okay.
back in an updated format with lots of
Format.
changes
I see.
to it, but the gameplay is as similar to what it was in 2011.
I see.
Um, and a couple of small games that we
Mhm.
have here. So again, showing the variety. We have a word game, better letters, great
Oh, okay.
unique game where you're trying to follow the rule cards when you make a word and you're trying to get score as many of those rule cards as possible. And then as a final thing, we just it's going to release. We just fulfilled it, and we're going to release it. I think April 16th is the street date, and this is 23 Knives, which we call a social manipulation game set in the time of Rome, where you're either trying to kill Caesar or save Caesar. We call it social manipulation because you can sway people to your side, or you could be swayed to someone's side. So even though you may start out as trying to save Caesar, you might get turned to trying to kill Caesar, and then you got to change what you play in that. So really fun game, 3 to 8 players, takes about an hour or so. So really fun, different type of game.
I see. How many total game in the catalog right now?
Well, right now we have 7.
Oh,
so
7.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, so we have 7 come in about 2 weeks. The 7th one will be out, unless you count fulfillment, of course. We have, and then in the upcoming months, we have about 3 or 4 immediate, starting like in July. So we have, I think, June, July for one, July, August for another one. So we have like Twisted Trumpets in June, July, Tales of the Arabian Nights, the 40th anniversary edition, probably July, August. We have a small game called The Brain, which might come out around August or so, and Soothsayers, and then Animal Rescue Team for around September. And then to round out, we have Dogs of War and Xenology. So those are going to be the releases through end of 25.
I see. And with so many different games, like what kind of marketing strategy are you currently doing to, get the game out there to the potential buyers?
So each game requires, I think, a little bit different, but the tools are pretty much the same. So first, you have to separate the games on crowdfunding versus not crowdfunding. Right. So Tales of the Arabian Nights, we had it on GameFound. We crowdfunded, so we did all sorts of marketing related to.
I have a quick follow-up question on that. How do you decide which one to crowdfund and which one don't?
Well, good question, because I just learned it. I was never a crowdfund supporter in terms of, I didn't buy anything really crowdfunding. I think Shadowfist, when I sold the rights to Shadowfist, I supported them, which they crowdfunded. That was my only real experience with crowdfunding. So it's more like what do you call it? You have to see what game, and again, I learned this, and I'm probably still learning. It's what games I can add to make it appealing to crowdfunding, right? So what are the things that people look for? Stretch goals, add-ons, a deluxe edition versus this edition, and so on. So I think it's things that can make it appealing to someone crowdfunding, because we also release into the retail. You want to make it, I guess, appealing where people say, yeah, I'll crowdfund it now rather than wait for it to come in retail. And that was different things. So in Ascending Empires, all we did was we dropped the price, I think, $30. Because at the time, it was my first crowdfund, and I didn't know. I thought I could just do it like that. And then I learned, well, people want different things. So we did a $30 price drop. For 23 Knives, we had some stretch goals that opened up that became part of the game. Wood punch board that got turned into wood, then screen printing on the wood. Then we did an add-on of metal coins. And then the last thing was Tales of Arabian Nights, where we just offered a deluxe edition. So it's the same game, but upgraded components, acrylic standees, wooden story tokens, wooden destiny token markers, a wooden wealth track marker, some spot UV coatings and things like that. So and that's going to be for the GameFound version, and the retail version is just going to be the same game, just not those upgraded components. But the other thing we offered, which we're not going to offer in retail, is if you already had the game, the changes only. So any changes that we did, you could buy that separately. If you have the game and you're interested in our solo component, you could just buy the solo stuff. So we made things that you could buy separately without buying the whole game, because we didn't fundamentally change the game. We did add new paragraphs and stuff, and that's why it might be appealing if you already have the game. Just buy the changes and buy the solo or whatnot.
Got it.
So really,
Got it.
when I look for crowdfunding, I look for what can I do to make it exciting and
Different.
interesting for someone to say, yeah, let's back that now. I don't want to wait for the retail or whatnot.
I see. Thank you for sharing. And back to my original question on of course, crowdfunding is a big marketing tool and a platform. But
It does
besides
have that,
crowdfunding,
yes.
what other marketing like strategy has been working well for your company?
Yeah, I mean, I did articles in GTM magazine, so that's a distributor
Okay.
magazine. I've done some articles for some of the games, even the ones not crowdfunded. We've been getting articles in there. I went to the Gamma Trade Show, so I was showing
Yeah.
off my games there, and I did the game night, so I was showing off my games there. I'm going to distributor open houses, so I'll be showing games
Yeah.
to retailers there. I'll be going to shows, right? I'll be at
Yeah. How
UKGE, I'll be
about
at Origin.
digital? How about digital marketing? What type of digital marketing are you doing?
Digital, I don't know what can be done. I tried to do some podcast advertising where like the host mentioned our game and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that kind of thing. We've done some Facebook marketing.
Okay.
And that's pretty much the scope of what we've done. And we probably should do more. A lot of it again is on me. I really don't know it that much. I try to hire someone, say, hey, can you help me with, let's do a few social media things. I'm not a great social media person. So,
Yeah.
I try to get help in that respect.
I see. I see.
But
And on the Amazon side, I believe you partner with a distributor to handle your Amazon.
yes, we have a
sales.
consolidator, they're called,
Yeah.
and they sell to
Okay.
distributors, but they also they sell to Barnes and Noble.
Okay.
They sell to Amazon and so on. So yeah, whatever presence I have there is probably due to them.
I see. I see. I see. Got it. Got it. Well, so as well, wrapping up today's interview, if you have to share just one piece of advice with someone that's getting started in the tabletop board game industry, what would that be?
I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, do the games you like. I mean, obviously, know what you want to get out of it. Research the industry, know what's out there, so you don't follow. Try to be different. I always say try to swim in blue water, not red. Or blue ocean, not red ocean.
Yeah.
People don't know, right? Red ocean is I'm following the trend, and everybody's there, and you got the frenzy, the shark frenzy, and
Yeah.
blood. It's red. Blue
Yeah.
ocean is like try to be a leader, try to do things differently, and maybe that it's harder, but but the success could be really powerful if you're the first thing to start a trend or whatnot.
Yeah.
So I would say, but I would say do what you like, do what you know, just know what's out there and know what tools are available to you, what conventions you should go to, listen to podcasts about the industry, and definitely go to shows, go to a Gamma Trade show, go to an Origins, go to a Gen Con or whatever, and just see what people are doing there. Learn
Yeah.
from what you see there. And I've always noticed that the people in the industry, most of them are quite friendly. If you strike up friendships or stuff like that and ask for advice, you'll almost always get somebody to help you out in that respect.
Got it. Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing. And where can our audience find you online?
Well, my website is www.play2zgames.com with TO, not the number 2. That's probably the thing. I mean, you'll find some of our games on Board Game Geek. So if you want to learn some of those, but play2zgames.com is probably the best thing. Or find me at a convention. I'm at a lot of the major conventions.
I see.
usually I
Yeah.
have a booth,
Yeah. I would love to see you in one of the upcoming trade shows.
I'll be at UKGE.
Yeah.
I'll be at Origins. Gen Con, I don't have a booth, but I'll be walking around. I'll be at PAX Unplugged. So, I'll be at several of the conventions this year.
Sounds good. And for our listener audience, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We hope you have enjoyed today's conversation and find it insightful and inspiring. If you like what you have heard, be sure to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode. We really appreciate your support. We'd love it if you can leave us a review and share the podcast with your friend and colleague. For more resource tips and the latest update within the toys and game industry, visit our website at toy-launch.com. Join the conversation and connect with us on social media using hashtag Toy Business Unboxed. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestion for future episodes. Until next time, keep innovating, keep creating, keep bringing joys to toys. This is Jason Shea signing off on the Toy Business Unboxed podcast. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you so much, everyone.